Hi guys, good evening. This is Chelsea, and believe it or not, Kelsey. I know for those of you guys that are on all the other calls, I always talk about Kelsey, but we're not very often in the same room together. So if everybody just on the webinar can just pop into the question bar and just make sure that you're able to hear us, just so we can make sure that you can hear all the information we're going to share. Awesome. All right, thank you guys so much. So thank you all as well for hopping on the call. I think what the process that we followed this year, I hope has been helpful for those that have been part of it, just to be able to have either the coaches call or the webinar a week and a half prior to the games, so that way you have enough time to disseminate the information to your programs. So I hope that that has been helpful for you. And so we will be able to go through this tonight. Thank you very much for hopping on the webinar. And then the final information, recapping all of this with additional information that Kelsey and I will talk about, will go out by the end of the day on Friday. But first, I just want to thank you all for all that you do. We're very, very excited for this year's games and being able to kick off what is going to be our 50th anniversary celebration, which will begin with the 2019 Summer Games and continue through and end at the 2020 Winter Games. It's pretty amazing that our organization has spanned over the course of 50 years, and we're very excited to be able to celebrate with you. And I know a lot of you have been involved with the organization for much longer than Kelsey and I have been, and I just want you all to know how much we truly appreciate all that you do and all the volunteer time that you put in, and it doesn't go unnoticed, and we really appreciate you and all your time and the work that you do to benefit the athletes on your respective programs. So thank you very much. So today, we're just going to go through a high-level version of the games. And for those of you, most of you are familiar with how the webinar works, but just in case this is your first time, as we move through, you'll be able to type in questions into the question bar that we can either address with you online or offline, depending on the question and if it's specific to your local program or if the whole group will benefit. So you can ask questions at any particular point in time, and we'll kind of toggle back and forth as we move through the presentation, just so we can also highlight and address certain areas on the overall map that we need to point out as we talk through, just so you can have a better visual of what we're chatting about. So I think today we will maybe. There we go. Okay, so I think this information has been on our website, and I think it's gone out in a couple different emails. And hopefully you can see it okay. If not, again, you can go right to our website and take a look at it, or we'll also send it out again in the final information. And so a couple pieces to this have changed surrounding opening ceremonies and the timing, and we'll spend a little bit of time talking about the process for opening ceremonies and the parade of athletes, and those are kind of the components that have changed, but dinner hasn't changed at all. So I think this isn't new information for anybody, and we'll kind of use this as a guide as we talk through certain things. Then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about the sport-specific schedule. We'll spend a lot of time just kind of highlighting the map, and then we'll spend some time talking about the non-sport information pieces that are important for you guys to be able to share with your respective local programs. And then we'll also then dive into the sport-specific components of the competition. And again, you can ask questions at any time, or if you have additional questions, mine and Kelsey's contact information, which I'm sure you all have, will be at the end of the document, and you can reach out to us at any time leading up to. So again, here is the general schedule that you'll follow along. We'll dive into the sport-specific schedule that will talk about all the different components of the sport competition. But everyone that is arriving on Thursday We'll have local program check-in, and then we'll also have housing available for local programs, and also dinner at the food tent. And then we'll begin with competition on Friday, where some programs will also arrive on Friday morning, have local program check-in. But we'll have competition all day on Friday in 6 different sports, with opening ceremonies on Friday night, and then we'll have competition again on Saturday in bocce, track and field, and aquatics, with a dance following at the end. And again, we'll go into the deep dive of these details as we move through the presentation. So for the sport-specific schedule, again, I don't think this is new information for folks. I think we've sent it out. But you can see here all the different components by sport and by location. One thing we did this year, and you'll see on the map, is we updated the locations to match the locations on the top bar here. So hopefully that will be a little bit easier for you to all follow. And so these will be included in your local program packet, which Kelsey will talk about a little bit, and then also be posted around campus, and also again included in the final information. So I think here looking at the track and field events and the divisional information, Kelsey will be sending out rosters tomorrow with your division information. Once we have all of that and you guys take a look at them, we'll be able to update the competition schedule with the respective divisions. And so that will be included in the final information, so that way you can hone in and be able to know which time blocks your athletes are going to be competing in their respective events, if that's applicable, specifically with the field events. So we'll have all that. The relays, I think you all know, again, are happening during opening ceremonies, along with a few of the 10-meter walk and the 10-meter manual wheelchair events. So those will still take place at opening ceremonies under the lights. So that is the Friday competition schedule. So again, you can expect the rosters tomorrow and the updated schedules with divisions either by end of day tomorrow or with the final information. And so then here is the competition schedule on Saturday, which again we'll dive into a little bit deeper when we talk specifically about the sports. General information, hopefully you can, this might be a little bit blurry, but this is on the website as well. So there are a couple elements of construction at UNH this year, nothing that's going to impact the games. The parking areas and the general competition areas are still exactly the same. One item to note, that there is a power line that's being put in A lot. So there is one row of parking spots that there's a fence up now that you won't be able to park in, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but it still allows access to the stairs up to the main road, and also still allows access to the tunnel underneath the main road to pop out in front of the field house. So we've lost a couple parking spaces there, but there'll still be plenty of parking spaces to be able to accommodate needs. Additionally, in the past, as we have had golf carts circling, we will have those again, with drivers being able to pick up individuals, athletes, help with transportation from parking lots and or from events if need be. There won't be a specific designated pickup location, but they will be circling around in between the Rotary and the competition areas and A lot to be able to flag down a driver and have them help with transportation for anybody on your respective program. Housing, you can see in box 2 at the Gables is there. Parking that I've just kind of mentioned is in box 3. And then box 4 is where all of the main competition places will take place. All right. So here is the overall map, and luckily, you know, with the exception of losing a couple parking spaces, we're very excited that, you know, we're able to utilize the full components of UNH again, and have kind of found our new home and our new way of doing things with the ability to use the track and ability to use the spaces. So this is very similar to last year's. The biggest changes are that the shot put is taking place at the shot put pits, opposed to being on the lower field down where the other throws events are and the standing long jump. Just a reminder, Kelsey's going to circle a few of these things, but the standing long jump, ball throw, mini jab, and softball throw will all take place on the lower field. And again, there will be transportation down to that lower field that will be part of the loop if anybody would like to be able to utilize that. Another change for the roadway track events, we'll have a specific staging tent for that this year, and so that will be right where Kelsey's circling right there. Olympic Town will be where it was last year, and we'll dive into kind of the fun happenings at Olympic Town. This static display will take place up parallel to the road, right on Boulder Field, and then the main food tent will be in the same exact spot that it was last year. Powerlifting will either be outside this year, right where Kelsey's circling, or on the tennis courts, or if weather's not on our side, inside. And then obviously all the track events will take place on the track. Bocce will be on Bremner Field, where it has been the main awards area for track and bocce and powerlifting, and all the throws will take place where Kelsey's circling right there. In the field house, we have healthy athletes back again this year, and I'll speak to that in a little bit. And then we also obviously have aquatics, which is going to take place in the swimming pool at the field house. One quick item to note, so the turf, the field that you see in the lower left-hand corner, lower right-hand corner, I can't get my directionals correct, so that is now a turf field, and that's typically where we've fired the fireworks off from. With that change, we have to fire the fireworks off on Boulder Field. So you are unable to, and there'll be a line spray painted on the grass. There's still going to be plenty of space, but there will be a line in the grass, and you just won't be able to, when you set up your tents, be it Friday morning or Thursday night, you just won't be able to go past that particular line based on the guidance from the fire department. So just please make sure that there is nothing in that area. One other item to note, and I'm sure you'll either be at opening ceremonies or be at the Gables, but once you are, once the fireworks start to happen, you won't be able to be past that area either, which I couldn't imagine you would want to. So again, you just can't pass that black line, and there'll be a line on the overall grass in that field. So now we'll dive into the specifics associated with some of the components. So I'll turn it over to Kelsey to talk about local program check-in.
Perfect. So like Chelsea mentioned when we talked about the general schedule, so local program check-in will happen from 4 to 7 on Thursday night. Marty will be there with Taylor, just like previous years. You'll get 2 packets. One will include your bibs and your pins. The other will include your roster, maps, schedules. You'll get an SO&H buck. You'll get your meal tickets, one-on-one credentials, deck passes. We'll have incident reports. You'll also get your assessment summary in there, so please take a look at that and make sure that's correct. If there's anything wrong, you can write on it and give it back to them. You'll get healthy athlete information, parking permits. I think that covers it. You're going to give Taylor the scratches from the rosters so that we can let the venue coordinators know that athletes may not be attending. So that will happen on Thursday as well as Friday morning. And if you get any other scratches after local program check-in, you're letting staging know.
Great. One other thing that you will be receiving for, as part of our 50th celebration, we want to make sure that every single person, athlete and registered local program volunteer associated with your program receives something that really celebrates our 50 years. So at check-in, if you want to bring just an extra helper, you'll get a 50th item. It's a very nice canvas tote bag that has the Special Olympics logo along with the 50th anniversary logo. So you'll get those at check-in for everyone that is a registered LPV and a registered athlete associated with your program. Additionally, as Kelsey mentioned, a while back we sent out an email asking about whether or not anyone from your program needed accessible parking, and also if anyone on your program needed a one-on-one pass. So Kelsey has been compiling that information, and we're going to take a look at it following this call. And then if there are any questions associated with any of those elements, I will be reaching out to all of you within the next week, just to have additional conversations surrounding those particular things. But if you are a program based on our conversations that need a one-on-one pass or needs accessible parking, you will get those in your local program packet, as Kelsey mentioned, at check-in, which is right at the overall food tent.
Just to touch base about the opening ceremonies, like information, I haven't heard from all local programs. So I just have like a list of local programs that I hope you can shoot me an email, shoot me a text, whatever. And I'm sorry if you've already communicated over the phone with me or anything like that. I just like to have it down on paper. But I'm waiting to hear back from confirmation from the HC, Epping, Exeter, Great Bay, Manchester, Manchester Sharks, Merrimack Tigers, Merrimack Valley Equestrian, Nashua, Paradise Farm, Rochester Raiders, Somersworth All-Stars, South Meadow Middle School, and Spalding Shooting Stars. I basically need to know if you're attending, how many would be attending, if you need accessible seating, and if there's anyone that's been that has passed away and you want to acknowledge them at the ceremony. I'd like to collect that information.
When would you like that information by?
If I could have it by Monday, that would be fantastic.
Great. So I think those of you that need housing have noted it in Agon. Kelsey has passed that information along to Dory, who handles housing at UNH. So housing is available on Thursday and Friday. And so Dory will be sending the housing information to programs for you to review, most likely next week. Okay, so also everyone noted their meals. As Kelsey mentioned, if you requested any gluten-free, dairy-free meals, you will get a corresponding meal ticket, and your athlete or LPV will turn that ticket in to be able to get their gluten-free or dairy-free or vegetarian meal, whatever it may be. So I'm just going to go through the meal items quickly. So on the schedule, the general schedule, you'll be able to see the I jump back here, the times that food is available. So on Thursday night, there is a local program barbecue for any of the programs that are checking in on Thursday night. And so that is an open time frame. So anytime you get there between 4 and 7, dinner will be available. So dinner on Thursday night will be a piece of chicken, baked beans, corn, a salad, a roll, and a brownie, and corresponding drinks. On Friday morning, there'll be breakfast available for those that stayed overnight, and then also those programs that are coming on Friday morning that included their breakfast in their meal count. That will be pancakes, sausage, fruit, coffee, and juice and water. And so that will be from 6:30 until 8:15. On Friday for lunch. So if you are a person that is outside, so local program volunteers and athletes that are competing in athletics, bocce, powerlifting, you will all eat outside. And so that will be hot dogs, chips, potato salad, cookies, fruit, and respective drinks. Thank you for all of you that have submitted meal counts if you are associated with the pool or with equestrian. So those meals for your athletes and LPVs will get delivered right to the pool or the horse barn. So if you're doing equestrian, you can just expect them right in the horse barn. If you're doing the swimming at the pool, they'll be delivered to staging, and the team at the pool will make an announcement that the lunches are there, and then at that point, there'll be somebody there that will be able to check off and deliver your lunches to you based on the count that you submitted to make sure that you're getting everything that you need and getting the gluten-free and getting the dairy-free, et cetera, if that's applicable to your program. So if you can just have you and one or two others go pick up your meals at staging, that would be great. For Friday dinner. So Friday dinner is an open time frame from 5 until 6:30. So with the field dance, which we incorporated last year, which wound up being a lot of fun, you can either go to the field dance first and then go to dinner, or go to dinner and then go to the field dance, depending on what works out best for you and your program and when you would like to eat. So we'll do the field dance again, and I think it'll be, for those of you that participated last year, it was really fun to be able to get out on the field of the infield, especially if you're not a track athlete, to be able to kind of interact. We're hoping to have some members of law enforcement there. Last year we were able to incorporate a lot of athletes and local program volunteers dancing on the video board, and it was just a lot of fun. So just a reminder that that's going to be taking place again, kind of while dinner's happening, so you can kind of move back and forth between the two. So the dinner menu on Friday is meatball subs, Caesar salad, macaroni and cheese, a brownie, and drinks. On Saturday, we kind of follow the same exact time, so it's from 6:30 to 8:15 for everybody that stayed overnight or submitted meal counts for Saturday breakfast, and so that will be with our great friends from McDonald's again. So we will have Egg McMuffins that are both in sausage Egg McMuffins and then just egg and cheese McMuffins, along with breakfast burritos, some fruit and coffee and water and juice. Saturday, lunch will be provided by McDonald's again. And we will have chicken sandwiches, burgers, crispy chicken wraps, apple dippers, and drinks. And then on Saturday, for those of you that are staying for the dance, so the dance is a 50s dance to go alongside our 50th anniversary. So we will have food that mimics a 50s diner. The menu has changed a little bit for that one. So we will have steak and cheese subs, chicken and cheese subs, macaroni and cheese, pickles, chips, and cupcakes. So that just covers food. And again, if you have a meal ticket, make sure you'll grab those from your packet and you'll distribute those to your respective athletes or local program volunteers. Okay, so awards. So we mentioned awards are going to be in that main area on Bremner again for the outdoor activities. So that will be for track and field, bocce, and powerlifting. Swimming will be at the pool. Equestrian will be at the horse barn, and those events that are taking place at opening ceremonies, the relays, the 10 meters, and the Unified Sprint Triathlon will take place at opening ceremonies. We have a great team on the outside awards area from TD Bank. They're taking on awards this year, and I think it's going to be great. We'll follow the same process as we had last year. So following events, the escort associated with that respective division, be it a throws event, a track event, or a bocce division, will bring that particular grouping of a division to awards. They'll be accepted by awards, and then they'll be placed behind the award backstops and then processed to be able to receive their awards. There will be a cordoned off area where spectators can come take pictures. And additionally, we'll also have a picture award stand just outside of Bremner, that if you or any of their like spectators, parents, etc., want to be able to take a photo with their athlete alongside their athlete, they'll be able to do that there. But the awards area, just for streamline and efficiency, will just be for athletes and escorts and one-on-one individuals that have a one-on-one pass. So opening ceremonies, I'm going to go, sorry for jumping around here, I need to go back to the map. So I think we're excited about opening ceremonies this year. We wanted to make sure that opening ceremonies will be a great opportunity to highlight our 50 years and also really be able to celebrate everyone's accomplishments. So I think last year was a little bit different for those of you that were there in terms of not having a parade of athletes and being able to highlight our programs on the video board. So I think parts of that were great. I think parts of it we missed the parade of athletes. So we're going to combine the two and do both this year. So thank you to those programs that have already reached out to Kelsey to let her know about whether or not they're planning to attend opening ceremonies. So one thing that we are looking for is, if you haven't done that yet, please do that so we can plan accordingly based on seating. So just for a general sense, I'm just going to kind of highlight some particular areas, and I'll spell this out in the final information. So we'll have the field dance, as I mentioned. The field dance is going to be right here on the infield where I'm circling. At 6:45 is when we're going to start doing staging for the local program Parade of Athletes. So if the staging areas are going to be over here in this corner and over here in this corner, at local program check-in, you will find out whether or not you're going to be on this side or this side. If you are a program that's participating in a relay, you are most likely going to be on this side to be able to accommodate the relay staging along with the 10-meter events that we're having at opening ceremonies. So at 6:45, we'll make announcements and you'll be directed to one of these two areas, but you'll find out again at opening or at local program check-in which side you're going to be on if you're attending opening ceremonies. At that time, once we start the Parade of Athletes, which is going to take place at 7:15, and again, all this information is on the general schedule, we will call out programs. Programs will then, we've got a couple fun, exciting things that will be, I think, fun for everyone from a viewer standpoint and also for the athletes on your respective local program. So the Parade of Athletes will begin at 7:15. At this time, it will just be for individuals that are part of your delegation, so athletes and local program volunteers. If you have other spectators, other individuals that are tied to your program, please make sure that they, once staging starts, that they move up to this area and sit in the main bleacher area. So this will just be for delegations, local program volunteers, and athletes. So as the Parade of Athletes start at 7:15, we'll call out programs one by one, and we'll have a group of volunteers in the back corner at both places that will be able to assist with the local program signage and staging of programs in order. So if you're called out from this way, you're going to cross here and follow along here, and you're going to sit on the some chairs in the end zone here. And if you're over here, you're going to cross here and sit in the end zones here. We have worked with a local program that came out to help us figure out the best course of travel, and we were able to time a few different things, and I think it will work out time-wise. We hope that everybody will be able to be seated, and we'll start the program at 7:30, and I think it'll be a great, exciting program where we're able to highlight and celebrate our 50 years. So that will be the path of travel that will occur, and I think we'll easily be able to fit within that time window based on the tests that we did associated with it. We'll have a fun item, assuming it's not too windy, in the middle of the field that I think will add a great, exciting element. One thing that I'm excited about is we'll be able to have a Parade of Athletes, and we'll also be able to have folks featured up on the video board. So we'll be able to incorporate both of those two things. Plus, everyone on your respective local program will be able to sit together, and so the accessibility will be much easier for everyone on your respective program. Now, if you're doing something with the, if you're in a relay or you're in one of those 10-meter events, we're going to have a specific cordoned off area that's going to be in this section. And so we are going to have all the programs that are participating in the relay. You are going to be staged in this area, and you'll cross over. And then if you have athletes or unified partners that are in the relay, they're going to move into this area here and be greeted by our great stager, Ed Candy, to be able to put them in their respective divisions. And so that will be a clear spot, and you're just going to look for the volunteers associated with that. Opening ceremonies will be a mix of singing and speaking programs. And so we'll have some fun songs that are uplifting, and we're also going to have a few other exciting elements that I think everybody is going to enjoy. The anticipated end time of opening ceremonies is at 8:15. At 8:15, we will then transition to the competition elements that are going to take place associated with opening ceremonies, which will be the relays and the 10-meter walks that I talked about. The biggest thing with this is if for some reason your program is not staying for those events, please just help us in, we'll have time where you're able to cross the track, but the biggest piece is we can't interfere with the relays, so we just need to be mindful of the competition that's taking place. And we'll have breaks in the competition as well, but it's just if you guys can help us with that, if you're exiting the track during competition, just to make sure that it's okay and a safe time for both the athletes and those that are not competing to be able to cross. The anticipated end time of the competitive events at opening ceremonies is at 9:15, and at that time we'll have fireworks to close out the opening ceremonies prior to competition on Saturday. Sorry, I'm trying to move forward, it's not working. Okay. So Healthy Athletes. Healthy Athletes is going to take place in Lundholm Gymnasium, and that is going to be on Saturday from 10 to 2. One thing that we're doing that's new this year, and I'm going to be sending out information about it in the final information, there is a team from Dartmouth-Hitchcock and a company called Creaire that is adding a new element of a hearing testing method that would add about 5 minutes or so to the healthy hearing component that has some really great benefits, and you'll be able to look at it in the final information that I send out. But if you could please just pass it along and share that with anyone on your program that you think would benefit from it. So that would be in addition, and every single person that does that, I think they're offering a $25 gift card to Walmart to anyone that chooses to participate in that test as well. But you'll just need to read through the information, and also there's a little bit of conversation that has to take place between the parents or guardians with the folks over at Dartmouth and Creaire. But so that is from 10 to 2. If any of your local programs also have a Young Athletes program, we're also doing a small snippet of a Young Athletes program associated with Healthy Athletes from 9:30 to 10:15. So if any of your athletes want to come down and check it out, and then also just kind of see what's to come for them in the future, that would be an option for them as well. The item for Healthy Athletes this year, if you complete 3 or more disciplines, based on the passport that will be in your local program packet, is a nice Healthy Athletes hat. Olympic Town will be open on Friday and Saturday, both days, with some fun different things. So Kim Paradise and her crew have been working, doing some different planning things. So we'll have a couple of different things that also tie into our 50th anniversary. So we'll have just some stickers to put on the spin art machine. There'll be some 50th fun t-shirt decorating ideas. So everyone, in addition to a tote bag, can potentially bring home a t-shirt as well, highlighting the 50th anniversary logo. There will be sound art, the Granite State sand art, the Granite State Cloggers will be there. BJ will be there for the magic show. And we're also doing some cord crafting that was very popular at Winter Games. So that will be there as well. And it's just a fun way to be able to kind of kick back and relax in between competition when you have downtime. And also the birdhouses will be there, so you can expect a lot of pounding over in that area again as well. The store will be open on Friday and Saturday, and we'll be selling 50th anniversary apparel if anyone would like to partake in that. I think they're putting together some neat things that will hopefully be appealing, and it's your chance to, on-site, feel, look at things that are celebrating our 50th, but I believe that we'll also be launching 50th anniversary on our store online as well. Additionally, at the store, as Kelsey mentioned, you're going to get a Special Olympics buck that you can distribute to all of the athletes on your respective program. And with the Special Olympics buck, there's the option of 4 different items that your athletes can go and redeem at any point during the games. So the 4 different options are sunglasses, a mini beach ball, a fidget spinner, or frisbee. And Kelsey and team will have that information at local program check-in as well. So in addition to the field dance, we have the traditional dance from beginning at 3 after competition is over on Saturday. And so the theme, as I mentioned for that, is the 50s. We'll have some great food and some fun decorations that tie in with us celebrating 50 years. There'll be the option of kind of a pop-up photo booth for folks to be able to take pictures with some props, in addition to dancing to a mix of current and 50s music. Hopefully, it's rained so much in the past, month and a half, that it's got to have it out of its system, knock on wood. I know at a couple of our area games, we got lucky with area games, but a couple of our stuff were underwater, and it was just tough. So I hope that, the rain is done for us. But if for some reason the weather is not on our side, there is a rain plan in place. And we will communicate via the announcements and via text to all of you should we enact the rain plan. We're not going to share the rain plan. We don't want folks enacting the rain plan if we haven't enacted the rain plan. But not to worry, we will share that information with you when we need to. Should anything be canceled, it will be canceled in blocks and or be moved inside where it can be and where it's appropriate. But we will share that with you should we need to, but we won't need to because it's rained so much that, it's going to be nice and sunny. Sorry, we're having some trouble with the computer. Okay, so now moving on to competition. So, and again, as we move through competition, if I've highlighted the area that's applicable to your local program, you're more than welcome to stay on. But in the same sense, you also don't feel like you have to stay on for the whole entire time. Okay, so looking at athletics. So I'm going to go back to the map. So for track staging is going to be in the same area as it was last year. You'll follow along the schedule and also listen for the announcements. Ed Candy is our head track stager. Ed's great. He will be managing this process, and this is where you're going to be. Please make sure that you are to track staging on time. Listen for the announcements. Staging will open 10 minutes before the scheduled start time for each event, and all athletes should report to staging by the start time for the event. This goes for every track event and every field event. Please be mindful of that. There's a 5-minute grace period to report to staging. So please make sure your athletes are on time. Following staging, once we get groups in heats, the only individuals that are going to be allowed in the staging tent are the specific track escorts that are associated with track, the athletes and or unified partners that are in that particular heat, and anyone that we've approved for a one-on-one pass. And the point of this is the staging tent is small. It's a small area, and we need to be able to efficiently move heats in and out of the staging tent in a timely and efficient manner so the competition can run on schedule. I think all of you know the 100 and the 50 are very popular. We've got upwards of 35 heats in those particular events, and we've got to make sure that there's enough space to be able for Ed and his team to efficiently do their job. So it'll just be those individuals that are allowed in track staging. At that time, when a heat is ready to go, the path of travel will be led by an escort, but the heat will leave the track staging area, follow this red line, which is a walkway just for track escorts and track athletes in respective divisions, travel down this way and enter the track. The only individuals allowed on the track is going to be the same as last year, are athletes and escorts and track officials, and anyone that has an athlete-specific one-on-one pass. All the other path of travel, it will be exactly what we did last year. You're going to follow up this path here and be able to watch right from the bleachers here. The finish line, just in case you weren't here last year, is right here where I'm circling. And then as soon as the athlete heat is complete, that escort will follow them, and you'll follow the same path of travel, be able to exit the track, head out, and then move through here, and then cross, and then head into awards. At that point, the athlete and the division will be dropped off at awards, and at that point, the awards team will accept the heat. The award stands, as they were last year, will be right in this general area, and the spectator area will be right in here. At that point, when the athletes have been, from that particular division, have been awarded, they'll be able to move through the exit and participate in the picture-taking area, should they so choose. So heats will be sent once they are full, once everyone is there, not necessarily in numerical order. So that way we can continue things moving. So please make sure you listen to the announcements and report to staging. The track stickering process will take place on the track. We'll have chutes on the track that will help maintain the divisions and be able to have all the divisions cycle into their own particular chute. Once they're in a chute at that time, they'll be able to get their lane stickers, and then we'll be able to pull heats and run heats based on that process. So we have two different staging processes in place that will help with the efficiencies and moving through the respective heats that we have on the track. Similarly, for the field events, this lower field tent will be where staging is. The entrance will be right here. At that time, there will also be rows of chairs that will be used for staging. Same process. So individuals that are escorts and athletes and those that have an athlete-specific one-on-one pass will be allowed into the staging tent. We'll have vectors going this way, throwing this way. Our hope is, depending on the overall field wetness, that we're able to have at a minimum 6 vectors, and then there'll be spectator seating along this way, and you can walk down this way. But again, please make sure that you're not interfering with the competition, and so that will be for the ball throw, mini jab, and softball throw. The standing long jump will also take place down on the slower field. Standing long jump obviously doesn't use a vector, and so those will be jumping from the lines that are on the field. Shot put, we'll have a staging tent, most likely in this general area, again, depending on overall wetness, and that will follow the same process, and we'll utilize 2 pits this year versus the one that we had down this way last year. Track B, UNH roadway will have the 3 lanes right on the road here for events that are 25 meters and under. Again, same process, athletes, volunteers, one-on-ones. And so, as I mentioned previously, there's their own staging area, and that will be right here, which will actually be a little bit closer to the start. It's hard to tell from this map, but that will be right in through there, and then they'll run their races and then be able to enter the awards area. And again, for all those things that I just mentioned, they will be right in here for the general awards area. Aquatics. So I'm just going to stay on the map. So aquatics, right here, you can enter through the field house. There is, as I mentioned, a little bit of construction going on, but there will not be any construction going on when our event is taking place. You'll enter into aquatics. Staging will be in the same room as it has been in the past, which is room 104 on the lower hallway. The hallway will be lined with rugs leading into the pool. Dave Hackett is managing staging, and the same thing goes there. So athletes will report to staging. They'll stage in their respective heats. Similar to what we did for area summer games, every single local program at local program check-in, if you have swimmers, you will get a 2 deck passes. The deck passes, unlike the one-on-one passes, are interchangeable, and you'll be able to utilize those for the registered LPVs on your program should you need to have 2 people on the pool deck at a time. And so those will be right in there for you. But staging will be in 104. They'll walk down the hallway, enter the pool. Staging in the pool will take place right to the left as you walk in. We are piloting a new timing system this year. I think a fun element for swimming spectators will be able to highlight the scores on the scoreboard in the pool corresponding with lanes. And so I think that will be a fun way to be able to take a look at that. It doesn't change the dynamic of swimming at all in terms of having to use the touchpad. You're just going to swim exactly as you would swim at any of our area competitions. For those of you that attended the Upper Valley area games, we are utilizing that same exact system that we used there. That went very well, and we're excited to be able to incorporate it into our summer games this year. Yes, so on Friday, swim will break for lunch. So an announcement will be made that lunches are there. You'll have a couple people from your program go down and pick it up in staging, pick up what you requested, and then we'll break for lunch, and then we will resume. On Saturday, we'll take a look at the overall time, but I think we should be running on schedule, and the swimming events will wrap up on Saturday in plenty of time to be able to head down to the field and be able to partake in the McDonald's lunch on Saturday. If for some reason things are not running as quickly as we would have expected and we're in danger of missing lunch, McDonald's will either stay open later or we will deliver lunches to the pool. But plan for breaking for lunch on Friday and then moving outside for lunch on Saturday. Awards will take place on the pool deck immediately following the event. And then at that point, athletes will then return to staging or go up to the overall spectator seating area. There were a couple of questions about accessible seating for the pool. So if your program, the pool space, those of you that have been in the pool before, it's very, very tight. So if you do need accessible seating in the pool, please let Kelsey know. I think a couple of you already have, and we'll provide a specific pass for that, just knowing how tight it is in there. But if anyone from your program or spectators need accessible seating, please just let us know for the pool, and we will accommodate to the best of our ability based on overall space and timing, but that will be available. bocce. Bocce will take place on Bremner Field as it has before, right in this general area. Friday morning, we will have divisioning. Everyone will participate in divisioning. The check-in tents will be over here. What we are going to do with divisioning, as folks start to check in, the first 4 that check in will be assigned to a court. The next 4 that check in will be assigned to a court. So your athletes will get a popsicle stick noting what court they're going to go to. All the courts will have volunteers and all the courts will be numbered. At that time, the 4 athletes on court 1, they will do their divisioning round throwing at 30, 40, and 50, and we'll collect all those scores. And so we'll do that for the 17 to 18 bocce courts that we have set up on Friday morning prior to the singles competition. So rather than waiting for everybody to check in, we'll just get going right when folks start checking in. So the first 4 will go to one court, the next 4 will go to the following, so on and so forth. We will have a group from our staff that will be at the bocce tent divisioning right there on site. So as the courts finish and the scores come in, we will start entering that information and be able to flip that information so we're able to start the single competition quickly after the divisioning is complete. So just one item to note, I think we are good now, but for bocce competition, after singles is complete, after those divisions are posted, you'll go to awards immediately after your division is final, rather than waiting for all divisions to be final. So if you're on court 1 and you finished the 1 versus 4 game, 2 versus 3, and then the medal matches, that division will then go to awards. For bocce on Saturday, we will begin the morning with doubles, and then we will end the day with teams. Equestrian. Equestrian will take place at the horse barn. We're really struggling with this. It's not going back for us. So it's in this one box here. The other colored map version that I'm showing you is in box 4. So equestrian will be just on Friday. As I mentioned, meals will be delivered to equestrian, and we will follow along with the schedule that has been put together based on the specific disciplines and riding classes, which you would have received separately if you are an equestrian rider. But just letting you know that if anyone from your program wants to go check out equestrian or get a better sense of what's happening over there, anybody is welcome to go over to the horse barn beginning at 10. Powerlifting. The weigh-in will be inside in the Performance Center, which is in the field house, which is right in between the hallway of Staging 104 and the pool, right about here. And so that will be where the weigh-in is. The weigh-in will take place at 9:30, and the event will begin at 11. As I mentioned, the event, hopefully based on overall field layout and weather, will be in this area here, or it will be inside. Awards for powerlifting, regardless of location, will take place on Bremner. Powerlifting consists of the bench, the squat, and the deadlift, and then we will combine those to be able to figure out the combined score should those athletes compete in all 3. The sprint triathlon is our final competitive event, and so that will begin at the UNH outdoor pool on Friday night. And those, we have 3 unified pairs this year. They've all been working very, very hard, and we're working on expanding that in the future just because it is such a great bond and a great long-term training mechanism for our athletes and the unified partners. So we have 3 different unified pairs that they will all compete in the sprint triathlon, a 250-meter swim, followed by a 10K bike and a 5K run, ending during opening ceremonies on Friday night. So that will be a great display, and if anybody's interested in doing that in the future, we would definitely encourage you getting in touch with us.
Other questions? There were questions earlier about like tents.
Perfect.
Repeating about the tent and if they are able to sign up Thursday or set up the tent Thursday afternoon.
Yes. So you are able to set up the tents on Thursday afternoon. On Thursday afternoons, you can see this big stop here. I think there's no traffic or travel allowed while the games are taking place on this main roadway. So if you're able to drop off your tent, set up your tent on Thursday, you will be able to bring your vehicle in to unload. But Friday morning, just a heads up, as it has been, and you can utilize a golf cart, but you'll have to drop off in this area and then either walk your tent or hop on a golf cart to help with the transportation. But you can set up your tent at any point starting Thursday afternoon, and then at any point when you arrive on Friday. I think there was a couple questions about the point, and this is not necessarily to scale, but this is just to reiterate the fact that there will be a spray painted line on the grass, and if it's not super visible, we'll put up just some nylon tape, and just a heads up that you will not be able to set up your tents on the inside of that particular line over here. You have to be on the roadway side of that line, just with the limitations we had associated with the fireworks this year. There were a couple questions about competition and protests. So as there hasn't been in the past 3 years, there are no protests associated with any of the competition. At times, folks will get video or photo of finishes, and I think pictures can be deceiving. At times, the angles look differently. We have a very specific trained staff that are timing, that are taking photos right at the finish line at a different vantage point that is very specific. So there are no protests. We will have a track official on the track that will be looking for the points of should there be any disqualification. I think you all know the biggest pieces of disqualification are in the with support categories if the helper is providing any forward momentum. That is not allowed in swimming or in track. Additionally, you're able to move out of your lane as long as you're not impeding the path of anyone else. And so, again, it's important if you see someone moving out of their lane, but they're not directly impeding the path of somebody else, they won't be disqualified. If they're impeding the path of somebody else, they will be disqualified. One thing we are doing this year is we're streamlining the DQ form. And so the reason why an individual is DQ'd, should that happen, will be noted on the form, and it'll be very clear. It'll just be a checkbox, and that will be included with the respective heat sheet that will go with the escort along with the Division II awards. And then the DQ sheet will be included at awards and be able to be passed along to parents, guardians, or LPV, just to be able to see what the reason for disqualification was. There's a question about extra meals. We have already submitted all the meal counts. If you're really in a bind, just let us know. We'll see what we can do. But your meals are limited to what you registered for in Agon. All right. If there's other questions too, feel free to pop them into the overall bar. So again, here's the map, just a recap of the information. So tomorrow, rosters from Kelsey. Any outstanding questions we have associated with opening ceremonies and
Like people who passed away attending, that would cover it all.
If you can get that to Kelsey by Monday.
Correct.
So rosters will come, and then the divisional information with the sport-specific schedule, once you've had a chance to review your roster, will be sent either prior to the final information or alongside the final information that comes out on Friday. On Friday, I will send out an updated version of the general schedule, the map, and the sport-specific schedule. Should anything change weather-wise or anything with the games next week, I will send out updated information. But again, we wanted to make sure that you guys have enough time to be able to disseminate the information to your respective programs ahead of time. So you'll have, ideally 100% complete information, but if anything changes due to an unforeseen circumstance, I will certainly let you know next week. If there's any questions leading up to the games, you can reach out to Kelsey and I, Kelsey or I directly. So I know it's a little bit confusing. So Chelsea, I say 1,000 times with a C, Kelsey with a K. So I'm directly associated with the event. Kelsey is directly associated with the registration and support behind the scenes. But we'll be floating around. Please stop in, say hi. We'd love to see you guys. But and then just the last thing that I have, and then we'll just note if there's any other questions here. So we are still working on getting as many volunteers as we can. There's never a time where we can have too many volunteers. So if you are able to help us in sharing the opportunity, we would greatly appreciate it. So in the final information, I will include a link to the online site just in case anyone associated with your program wants to be able to volunteer. You can sign up in a specific area and a specific day or time slot. There's many different opportunities available. If you would be willing to share the opportunity so others can take part in our 50th anniversary, we would greatly appreciate that. And so I'll include that link, and it's very simple and easy, and it's a lot of fun.
There were a couple of questions that came in. One was, where is the handicap parking? We're just scrolling back.
Sorry.
A little slow.
Oh. So accessible parking is in this lot right here, west lot. And so in order to park in that specific area, you have to have an approved parking pass that will be in your local program packet. Should we have any questions about your accessibility needs, we'll be in touch with you. But should you be approved for a one-on-one or accessibility pass, it'll be in your local program packet. You also can't see it exactly on this map, but should we have overflow this lot, there'll be an additional accessible lot basically right up here. If you follow this, this road, there is a parking lot right here that has spots that we can utilize for accessible parking, and the golf cart path would pick up there and then be able to help transport to the games through here. Should we surpass that, which I don't think we will cordon off a designated area in A lot. So A lot, again, is right here. Sorry, this is a little fuzzy, but in the final information, you'll be able to see this much clearer, and you can also access it right now on our website. But it is right in A lot, and we'll cordon off a specific area, and we'll also incorporate that into the golf cart path of travel. One other thing that I did not mention that we're very excited about is next week we are launching our brand new website that will allow a lot of really great information to be shared. Additional information from a local program side of things will come most likely after the games. But we're very excited to be able to incorporate this in combination with our 50th games. And I think it's really going to help elevate our website and user friendliness of our website to another level, and have it be something that we're all really, really proud of, and be able to say that we're part of, the great organization that we're all part of.
Another question was, do you need nominations for the Torch Athlete Strata, and what about Athlete Input Council?
So with the 50th celebration and with the 50th opening ceremonies, we are incorporating a couple fun elements, and so we have athletes from the beginning to athletes now that have all done kind of different things. So I think we're good in the nomination department, but I think we are working on highlighting a lot of different athletes and a lot of different kind of like movers and shakers that have helped our organization be where it is now, in addition to focusing on a couple of corporate partners that we would not be where we are now without them. So I think it'll be a great showing of everyone that's really played, a vital role, and a really great way for all of us that are involved with the organization to celebrate.
There will not be an app this year for summer games. Maybe in the future.
Once we have a new website, maybe. So I'll pop up mine and Kelsey's information again. But again, if there's any questions or any additional clarification information that you would like to see following this webinar, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'm very happy. It's much easier, at least for us, to be able to better support you guys, a week and a half prior to the games, opposed to 2 days prior to the games. So if there's anything we can do or help we can provide in the next, 9 days before the games start, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And we look forward very much so to seeing you guys either on Thursday night or Friday morning, whenever you arrive at the games. And we hopefully hope for great weather. But again, just thank you all so much for all that you do. It really doesn't go unnoticed, and really it's been great for me, and I think great for Kelsey too.
Absolutely.
To be able to work with you guys. And then just the last thing that I want to mention is I've mentioned it a few times on coaches' calls and also in emails, but I really would love to have solid representation from many different individuals associated with the task forces that we're doing this summer, based on season, based on sport, to help us formulate the future, the next 50 years, in terms of determining our overall sports that we offer, when we're offering them, geographic location, what the specific schedules and rules are associated with all of our competitions. So if you're interested at all or know anybody in your program that would be interested in helping take part in those task forces by sport, if you could please direct them to me or have them reach out to me, and I'll include it in the final information. But I think I'm really hopeful for a strong planning summer to be able to kind of guide and shape the future of our competitive events. So please keep that in mind if it's something you'd be willing to dedicate the time to. Thank you.